Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some news and analysis of this Week 1 game. 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers regular season finally here. Let's give a preview, analysis, and prediction for this kickoff in Week 1, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Acrisure Stadium against the San Francisco 49ers. And before I get into this game, be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. So just a quick breakdown here. Apologize, no video will be playing. We're going to have tape breakdowns and videos after this game on Sunday. Just want to get this video out here to you guys to get my thoughts and my prediction and hear from you guys. But let's start with the 49ers offense. It's a really, schematically sound system. Kyle Shanahan does a great job marrying run concepts and pass concepts. Everything looks the same. It's a lot of window dressing as well. And so they really, I think, just marry, the pass and the run game well. It's basically what Pittsburgh wants to do offensively, and the 49ers really kind of perfect that. Brock Purdy, his first meaningful game after the elbow injury in the NFC title game last year. How does he look overall? He's mobile enough to run a little bit and boot to his left and, work play action. It's kind of a West Coast offense where it's a lot of, straight drop backs and a little bit of play action, split backs, and not a lot of, downfield shots, horizontal type stuff, get guys in space, let them do damage after the catch. One common comment that the players and coaches have made, it's an obvious one, but they got to tackle because you have guys like Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle I expect to play in this game, and no one talks about Brandon Ayuk, but he's a really good receiver as well. The 49ers ranked 4th overall last year in yards after catch, and they ranked tied for 1st in yards after catch per reception at 6.6. Pittsburgh, by contrast, was dead last in that category, yards after catch per reception at 4.0, and so just two different kind of styles and outcomes with the offense, but you got to tackle. You got to rally to the football. You got to play with good leverage, play inside out, use the sideline as your help guy. That all has to happen because these guys are going to, try to win in space with some of the wide receiver screens, second and long. Watch out for that. And McCaffrey's a real dual threat. They got a bunch of dual threats, whether it's him or Deebo Samuel. Those guys can hurt you in a lot of different ways. And I just want to see how Pittsburgh attacks the 49ers 21 personnel with Kyle Juszczyk, their fullback, who's used more than any fullback in football. And he's a guy that's not just a blocker. People remember him from Baltimore. Obviously, he's a guy that can split out. And so I think Pittsburgh can use some big nickel, some 3 safety packages in this game to defend some of that, to defend a guy like George Kittle and some of those athletic guys and just try to have the best matchup situations possible as opposed to maybe being super heavy in their base 3-4. But I think for Pittsburgh in this one, can TJ Watt attack that right tackle? Colton McKivitz, he's replacing Mike McGlinchey, who left for free agency to Denver. McKivitz has not made a lot of starts. It's a big task here. Obviously, they're going to give him some help with slide protections, and I'm sure Kittle will do some chipping, and they're going to be smart about it. But TJ Watt really has to have a big game. You got to watch out for how much success can Alex Highsmith have on the other side against Trent Williams, the future Hall of Fame left tackle. Can Larry Ogunjobi A, play, and B, play effectively enough? And Cam Hayward's got to eat along the interior. I really look at also Cole Holcomb, and he's that hub of communication. His first game, in the regular season for Pittsburgh. There's so many new pieces there for the Steelers, and can you communicate that against an offense like San Francisco that's going to mess with your eyes and do a lot of stuff pre-snap, and so the communication's got to be key. It starts with Cole Holcomb, although there should be probably a 3-man rotation with him, Landon Roberts, and Quan Alexander. Landon Roberts, this is a game where he has to succeed and thrive against the run and be downhill and be attacking. So I think that front 7, the communication is going to be really critical in this game. Defensively for San Francisco, obviously everybody knows about Nick Bosa. He's going to play in this one. How much he'll play, it's impossible for me or really anybody to say right now, but I think he's going to play more than you think. He's going to play a healthy amount of snaps in this game. I think he's just that kind of dude, the way that TJ Watt's wired the same way. So it comes down to who defends that star pass rusher better. Is it San Francisco against Watt? Is it Pittsburgh against Bosa? Now Bosa plays a bit more on both sides than TJ Watt does, and so you have to deal with him in that respect. But do you use Darnell Washington? Do you run quick game? Do you try to run at him? Do you try to throw screens his way, get this guy running? Maybe, test that conditioning that's probably not ideally where he or the team would want it to be. That's going to be a big test overall. But it's more than just Bosa when they add Javon Hargrave, and they got a couple of first-round picks in there, and Kinlaw and Armstead, and They got a second-year guy in Drake Jackson who had 3 sacks last year, and they're pretty exotic on third down. I think they're probably more conservative in passing situations last year under D'Amico Ryans. I watching the preseason at least, they're really, wide 9 techniques, and they're running twists in games, and they're mugging the A gaps, and they're simulating pressure and dropping out and really trying to create some chaos up front. So from what I can tell in that limited and generally speaking vanilla preseason, I think the 49ers have been pretty exotic, and they're going to dial up some pressure and I think try to stress and strain the Steelers offensive line. And for as much as we talk about Bosa and the pass rush, this run defense for the 49ers was the best in football last year. They were tied for first, allowing 3.4 yards per carry. They did not allow a run longer than 25 yards last year. And they only allowed, I forget the number, they had the fewest runs allowed of 10 plus yards. I think it was maybe 23. It was, second place was 10 or so more above that. So that run defense has been really stout. And again, they add Hargrave on top of that. Can Pittsburgh, who of course is building their entire team around running the ball effectively and efficiently, can they do that? It's a really big test in this one. So say Amalu and Washington, those additions, and Cole and Daniels in year 2, that's going to be a really critical thing to watch. In the secondary, in coverage, it's a good group. There probably isn't that star name the way that there is Bosa, but Fred Warner at middle linebacker is the best in football. He's a guy that can run with tight ends down the seam. He's a sideline-to-sideline guy, so he's certainly a stud. In the actual secondary, Charvarius Ward's a good, not great corner. I think Tayshaun Gibson is super underrated, and he knows Pittsburgh well. When he played in Cleveland, he had 5 picks for them last year. Hufunga's obviously a hair on fire type of dude that had a really good season last year. Probably a little inconsistent, but when he makes plays, he certainly makes them big and creates a lot of splash there. So in terms of what their personality is, they mix up coverages fairly well. Probably a bit more, I would say a bit more zone than man, but one thing I think they struggled with, and it was preseason, so it's hard to know for sure how many of their guys were there and how much game planning they were doing, that they struggled a bit more against some of these bunch sets and switch routes and trying to pass off some of these route concepts on the fly. And so that's probably one thing that Matt Canada should lean on. Overall, I think you can, and he has used bunch sets this year in preseason. That's been pretty effective, 3-by-1, and create some free releases, maybe get some miscommunication for that 49ers defense. So that's one thing to attack. One other thing I should mention when it comes to the run game, watch out for the read option. I think Kenny Pickett in particular is going to have a read option here on 3rd and 2 or whatever is 2nd and goal, and he's going to, keep the ball as that end crashes down, and Pickett's going to score or pick up a first down. So I think that's one thing that I've seen on tape. The 49ers have not been great in defending their ends, or pretty aggressive in crashing down on those looks. So one nugget there as well. But I think as Mike Tomlin said, and it's true for all teams, in week 1, it's about just taking care of business yourself, doing your things well and doing your job and playing mistake-free. And it's a little bit less so about the opponent because you don't know them as well, especially a team like the 49ers you haven't played since 2019, and both teams are obviously very different. And quick note on special teams, because we never forget about our special teams. For the 49ers, some uncertainty there. It appears Jake Moody's going to kick in this one, their rookie kicker, so what you'll get from him, not quite sure. Will Ray McLeod, the former Steeler, be the return guy? He was supposed to miss this game with a wrist or hand injury, but he's cleared to play, and so he may be the guy there. And then for Pittsburgh, just a lot of turnover on special teams. They lost a lot of their core guys, replacing them with different names, and so we'll see how that looks. And I thought Presley Harvin III had a really good summer, but can that continue field position in a game like this? It's probably close. It's obviously going to be really important. So for this game, to get all of that analysis out of the way, my prediction here is Pittsburgh 23, San Francisco 20. I got the Steelers winning this one. We'll see if I'm the kiss of death. I just like this team. I think Pittsburgh has come to play in week 1s of past years. That was against Buffalo 2 years ago, Cincinnati last season. The 49ers are a good team, but they have some guys coming back. And what does Purdy look like? And I think Pittsburgh's a healthy bunch right now overall. So close game, going to come down to the wire, I think, but I got Pittsburgh winning this one 23-20. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys listening and sticking with us again. After this week, we'll have a ton of all 22 from this game, breaking down the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever the outcome is. We're going to be here to cover it. So appreciate you guys watching and listening. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.